All right, take two here. Morgan SLV 1/18/2011, gold 1367, silver 2891. Hey, I'm just going to speak a little bit from the heart today. You know, one of the things that I've mentioned in a couple of my past videos recently is the fact that, you know, I don't know that there's a whole bunch of new information coming out. In other words, to me, you know, a lot of what we talk about is a lot of the same old thing. But you know, given that framework, I think that it is important for you to hear it multiple ways from different people, and sometimes it just clicks. I mean, and you can hear something 1,000 times, and all of a sudden you hear it from somebody that you never thought you would get any. You know, you weren't going to glean any information from this guy's video, and all of a sudden he starts making sense to you, and starts speaking to your heart. You know. And so I've been really, you know, as you guys know, I've slowed down a little bit on putting out videos because I want to make sure that I have new information to bring to the game. But I got to be honest with you. You know, it's preparedness, right? That's my new information. You know, Robert Kiyosaki says knowledge is the new money, and I believe that. So you have to be prepared, right? But let's just go over a few of the things that I was looking at. The U.S. can't pay their bills. It's going to equal default of some type. Now, what does default mean? It means that for whatever reason, either A, we can't pay, or B, we're not going to pay. Well, I can tell you right now, A, we cannot pay, and B, we're most likely going to default through QE, right? Through more of this quantitative easing. And then you're the Saudis out there, the Japanese, you're one of the other countries that, you know, we owe a boatload of debt to, and you're watching us just debase their holdings. That's what happens when, you know, the Fed and the group of elites get together and decide, you know, we'll just default through QE. That's the way I see it, and I think it's you know, a crooked way to do business. But the bottom line is, you know, when you make malinvestments, you know, you have to take a risk. In other words, there's no reward without a risk. So I will say this, that, you know, the powers that be on both sides of the ocean, here's the deal. Here's the way I look at it, is they knew we couldn't pay them back. There's no way that everybody's sitting around these large tables where you have all these elites talking about what's going to happen with the future of China and the future of the U.S. and the Saudis, the Saudi money, and the U.S. and Japan, and right. You can't tell me there's not a calculator amongst the whole group. Right? So bottom line is, when you make a malinvestment, there must be risk, otherwise there can be no reward. And so when they skew the markets and they turn everything topsy-turvy, well, you get what you get, right? And there, you know, the way I look at it is this. Let me see if I can make sense of this. Let's just tell the Chinese we're going to give them 1 cent on the dollar, so at least they can get the 1 cent. You know, I've heard somewhere where it says, if we don't do that, if we don't tell them, look, you're going to have to give us, we're going to have to revalue your debt, and we'll go ahead and pay that new portion that we deem responsible for both sides and something that we can afford to pay. At least that, if we gave you like 10 cents on the dollar, at least you'd be getting a real dime per dollar. But if we keep going the way we're going, you're going to get zip. You'll get zero. And that's really one of the things that concerns me. You know, one of the things that I always say to myself is that you must get clear on your goals. And, you know, I'm not big on writing them down, and I know you should, and I'm going to tell you guys that's what I've been told. You know, I do write them down from time to time. I verbalize it. You know, this is a form of writing it down to me when I can get I watch all my videos over and over again, you know, 2-3 times at least, so I can make sure that my wording is right and all that. And it's a form of affirmation, and you just need to really, you know, think about your goals, think about your family. You know, I have here, you know, hug your family, right? I mean, the bottom line is there's lots of things that we've been discussing lately, you know, uncomfortable things, wills and stuff like that, and you know, who we think's going to actually be around when all this stuff goes down, you know. And it's just important to be prepared. I mean, I can't say that enough. So many things are going on. It's hard for me to keep my attitude up. So that's one reason I haven't been putting out the videos every other day or whatever. You know, I'm taking time to laugh. I watch music videos. You know, I tell my kids and my family I love them at least 5 times a day. And I've got to be honest with you, it's probably more like 25 times a day. But, you know, I'm just real big believer in, you know, family is first, right? So anyway, let's get into studying for just a second. You guys all know that I talk about studying, so let's just go real fast. Here's some of the books that I've read. You might recognize them, right? You might recognize some of these books. Okay? This is just a sliver of the stuff that I have read over the last couple of years. And most of these are by Kiyosaki. You know, I loan out books. I've got several books or a few books by Peter Schiff. And this was one I really liked, enjoyed, Conspiracy of the Rich. And, you know, I read a lot. I mean, bottom line is I read a lot. Right now I'm reading a book on affiliate marketing, and I just believe, you know, you always got to think of the future. And it's important. One of the other things, let me show you this real quick. So, you know, one of the things I like to do is try to take my mind out of the game and laugh. And I don't know if any of you guys remember this show, The Munsters. You know, it's the corniest comedy. It's the comedy on the level of like Gilligan and Three Stooges, but you know what? It helps me forget, and it helps me keep sharpening the knife. All right, joke of the day. See if I can get through this. Here we go. A pastor, a doctor, and an engineer were waiting for a particularly slow group of golfers. The engineer says, "Man, what's up with these guys? We must have been waiting 15 minutes." The doctor, "I don't know. I've never seen a worse group of golfers." The pastor, "Hey, here comes the greenkeeper. Let's have a word with him. Hey, George, what's up with this group of golfers? They sure are slow, aren't they?" George says, "Oh yes, that's a group of blind firefighters. They lost their sight fighting a fire at our clubhouse last year, so we let them come in and play anytime they want for free." There was a long silence from the group. The pastor says, "That is so sad. I think I'm going to say a special prayer for him." The doctor says, "Good idea. I'm going to go ahead and get a hold of one of my ophthalmologist buddies and see if there isn't anything we can't do about their sight." The engineer stands there and says, "Why can't these guys play at night?" Morgan, SLV, out.